Hi, welcome back to another video. I don't know what number video this is, but this is part of my 100 video challenge to record and post 100 videos, maybe in 100 days, but just get to 100 videos. And I wanted to just talk about when if you'd seen my other videos, you saw that one of I have three goals for this year. And one of the goals is to become a millionaire. And I was thinking to myself, I want to just elaborate a little bit on why that number, like what that means, right? Because to me, it's not like this idea of like, oh, I just want to say that I'm a millionaire, like, ooh, I get to say that. Um, I think for me, I have become much more conscious of the role of money. And as a therapist, you don't want to think about money. You don't want to think about this idea of like, ooh, I'm getting paid to help people with their problems. But the reality is that, like I have bills to pay. I have two kids in daycare. I have a mortgage. I have, a car and cable and there's these wants and these needs, and those things have to be paid for, right? Like the reality is that you do need money to survive, right? And when you have more of it, it can be kinder, like life can be kinder than when you don't, right? So for me, I don't know. I just have been reading a lot of financial books, and I came across I can't even tell you. I just listened to a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos, and the I had somebody had asked the question of, do you know your number? And it was around this idea that what would you need to have, like in the stock market or the bank or whatever it is, so that if you got a return of 8%, that 8% would be able to pay for your bills currently. What would that number need to be? And my question to you is, do you know your number? Do you know what that number is for you? I know that that number for me is 1.2 million, right? And when I did the calculation, I'll put the calculator, I'll put it in the notes, but it was like, if you, how much would you need to have in order to, at an 8% return, which is a pretty conservative return, how much, would you get, how much would you need to have in the bank or in the stock market in order to get an 8% return from the stock market so that you could live to pay your bills? So my number is 1.2 million, which at an 8% return brings me $96,000 a year, which broken down over 12 months is $8,000 a month, which is about how much my expenses are every month. Now, I have two kids in daycare, I have a mortgage, I have, like cable, I have a car, and one could say, well, you're not going to be paying, your expenses, maybe you're not going to be $8,000 a month once your kids stop daycare, and maybe if you pay off your mortgage. All of those things I think are goals for me. Like if I could pay off my mortgage, that would be great. Like just, that's for me, it's more of a safety issue, a stability issue, that I feel like I want my kids to live in a house, and I don't ever want to have to worry about like them having to leave this house because of some financial thing, right? If I'm going to leave, it's because I want to leave. But if I could, have an $8,000 a month where I could just pay my expenses, well, that's the goal. And for me, so to get to 1.2 million, that's for me the goal. That's why I want to be a millionaire, so that I can maintain a quality of life for my kids, for myself, to not have to sacrifice. Like we all sacrifice, but you know, that is the thing to be done. And then for me, it's like the faster I can get to $1 million, the faster that I can help other women, other people figure out, crack the code to get to $1 million. And if you can get to $1 million, what does that mean for you? What freedom will that do for you? Because the reality is that, I mean, I have heard the term the fire method, and I'm 47. Like, I'm not at this retire early stage. I mean, I could, it would be great, like, you hear people retiring at 40 or 35. Like, I'm past that. So that is not my thing. I have two young kids. So this idea of not working, like, it's just not my thing, right? But if I could retire, and when I say retire, I don't even know what that means, because honestly, like, I love my kids, but I don't want to be the stay-at-home mom. Like, I don't want that life. It's very challenging. It's very hard. It's very, especially for me as an introvert, like, it's very emotionally draining, this idea of like being with my kids all day, every day, 24/7. Like, I will be working, like when I get to that number, I will be working, and hopefully I will be working like really in depth with other moms to help them get to that $1 million. But, like, it's not that I don't want to go to work, because I'm in my office. I love my clients. I love my clients. I I am in a position where I have the luxury of getting to choose the clients that I work with, because for a long time I didn't. They just gave me clients at the agency, and I just had to work with clients that I didn't align with, right? That I didn't, that our values weren't aligned. I get to pick the clients that I work with, and I love the clients that I work with. But I don't want to have the 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 stress of like, oh, if a client cancels or if a client takes the summer off, like that I don't get paid. Because that's the reality of being in private practice. If your clients don't come in, you don't get paid, right? If I'm sick, if my kids are sick, I don't get paid. And I just want to be in a place in my life where that's okay. Like if we don't see each other, if I have to cancel because the kid's sick or that we're going on a field trip or whatever the thing is, like I want the option. I want the choice, right, to function in a way that aligns with my family. And so this is why I am like, and I don't want to say obsessed, but I'm like, it's in my conscious awareness, right? It's just this idea of that's my goal, is to get to the $1 million mark, and again, my ultimate number is 1.2 million. And so, the faster I can get to 1.2 million, the faster that I can prove that it's not a fluke, the faster that I could then say to other, anybody else. I mean, I'm thinking about moms because I am one, right? Like, so I'm really focused in that area, but it could be someone who's like dealing with a chronic illness. It's somebody who has a sick parent. It's somebody who, is a single mom. Like, again, the ability to have flexibility when you have that sort of financial stability, I would love to crack the code and figure out how to do it in a way that feels authentic, right? Because I know that there are a gazillion ways to make $1 million. And I don't know all of them, but the ones that I have heard of, I'm like, I don't know, that requires maybe me to be away from my kids like at night or on weekends, and maybe that's the sacrifice, and some people make that sacrifice, and that's fine. I also recognize that it doesn't have to be hard, or it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be hard. It can be rewarding, it can be challenging. You could go down the rabbit hole and then the weeds, and you could spend hours and hours, studying your craft, and it feel like just effortless. That is the kind of work that I would love to be doing, where like, hey, man, I can't believe that I spent 60 hours in whatever, in this thing. But it didn't feel like work, and it didn't feel like, like that it was tethered to income, or that whatever that meant that I had to, get paid for it. Whatever the thing is, the trading time for money. I think it is just this idea of, okay, like how do I get to the 1.2 million? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. I feel like this is what this year for me of the journey of how do I get to be a millionaire, so that I can understand the process. And part of it too is working through my mindset, because there is mindset stuff there that I have to work through. And again, if I can crack the code and work through mindset stuff, like block, self-sabotage, whatever it is, because again, like I said, as a therapist, you're like, you're not supposed to be thinking about money. So anyways, I just wanted to come and share that. So I would love to know what your number is. Like I said, do the calculation in the income calculator, and I'd love to know what your number is and what you're doing to get there, because maybe you could educate the rest of us out here, anybody who's watching this video. So thank you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.